All right, let's talk about one of the biggest moments in any entrepreneur's life, the end game. We're going to dive into how you can script the final chapter for the business you've poured your heart and soul into.
I mean, think about it. For most of you, your company isn't just a job. It's your legacy, it's your passion, it's your life's work. But have you really thought about what happens at the end? What does that final chapter actually look like? Because here's the hard truth. If you don't have a plan, that final chapter is almost always pure chaos. We're talking about the value of your business evaporating, getting slammed with monster tax bills, and even, heartbreaking fights between family members or partners. It's the exact opposite of the legacy you want to leave behind. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be that way. Not at all. The smooth, really successful exit, well, it's not an accident. It's a design. It's about you taking the controls and scripting the ending that you want. And really, this whole big, complex thing, it all boils down to answering two fundamental questions. If you can get these two things right, you've pretty much built the foundation for an incredible transition.
So here they are, the two pillars of your entire exit strategy. First, who gets the business? Simple as that. That's all about business continuity and your estate plan. And second, how do you get paid? This is where we get into the nuts and bolts of the transaction and, of course, tax planning. Let's tackle that first question. So, let's start with the business continuity playbook. This is all about making sure that the amazing business you built can actually keep on thriving long after you're gone. And the absolute key, the cornerstone of this playbook, is something called a buy-sell agreement. Honestly, the best way to think of it is as a prenup for your business partners. It's a rock-solid, legally binding contract that spells out exactly what happens if an owner leaves for any reason: death, disability, retirement, you name it. What it does is create a super clear and predictable process. So, step one, a triggering event happens. Say, a partner decides to retire. Instantly, step two kicks in. A pre-agreed upon way to value the business is used. No arguments. Then, step three, the purchase is made. And this is the crucial part. Step four, the purchase is funded, a lot of times with life insurance policies that are already in place. It just completely replaces chaos with a clear, predictable plan. Now, these agreements come in two main flavors. With a cost purchase, the other owners who are staying personally buy the shares from the person who's leaving. With a redemption agreement, the company itself buys back the shares. The one you choose has different implications for taxes and ownership, but the end goal is exactly the same: a smooth, predictable handover. And this plan goes way beyond just the business. It gets deep into your personal life. It forces you to answer some really tough but important questions. Like, who actually inherits your stake in the company? If your son or daughter takes over, how do you make things fair for your other kids? What about your spouse? Are they protected with an income? And the big one, how on earth is your estate going to pay the taxes without being forced to sell off the business for pennies on the dollar? A good plan answers all of this before it ever becomes a crisis. Okay, so on to that second huge question. How do you get paid? This is all about how you actually structure the sale. You basically have two paths you can go down. In an asset sale, your company sells off its individual assets. The equipment, the customer lists, the inventory. In a stock sale, you, the owner, just sell your shares in the company. A stock sale is almost always simpler, and for you, the seller, it's usually a much better deal from a tax perspective. But here it is. This is the single biggest tax nightmare you need to avoid. If your business is a C corporation and you do an asset sale, you get hammered with two layers of tax. First, the corporation pays tax on the profit from the sale. Then, you get taxed again when that money is paid out to you. It is a massive financial hit that you can often avoid with good planning.
And that brings us to the real aha moment in all of this. This is where we see how those two big questions, who gets the business and how you get paid, are totally, completely connected.
So you might be thinking, come on, C Corp, S Corp, I made that decision ages ago. Does it really make that big of a difference when I'm ready to sell?
Yes, it changes absolutely everything. That one little decision you made when you were just starting out has gigantic consequences for your exit.
So here's where it all clicks into place. A C Corp gives you a ton of flexibility. Pretty much anyone or any entity can own stock. But the trade-off is that huge risk of double taxation. An S Corp, on the other hand, solves that tax problem. You generally only get taxed once, but it comes with really strict rules about who can be an owner. For example, only very specific kinds of trusts can own S Corp stock. And this is the light bulb moment. Your estate plan,
the who gets it part, has to be perfectly in sync with your tax structure, the how you get paid part. They are not two separate things. They're two sides of the very same coin.
So you see, when you start putting all these pieces together correctly, you're not just planning a financial transaction, you're actually starting to build a true, lasting legacy.
So here's your blueprint. Number 1, plan early. The more time you have, the more options you have. Simple as that. 2, get that buy-sell agreement in place to script the future. 3, you have to understand how your corporate structure impacts everything, taxes and ownership. And finally, get your business, estate, and tax planners all in the same room, working from the same strategy.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. An exit is going to happen for every single business owner. That's inevitable. The only real choice you have is whether it's going to be an exit of chaos or an exit by design. So ask yourself, is your business really built to last beyond you?